Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tillman back with another Tillman's Take. Now, I know I've been missing in action a little bit, but I'm back, guys. And what I want to do is I want to start by breaking down the situation that comes to us out of LA, California. Let's get into it.
Ryan Tillman, real talk, it's the truth.
All right, guys. So what I want to break down today is a situation that comes to us out of LA where officers approached an alleged security guard and try to take him into custody. Let's watch the video real quick, and then we'll break it down, as it's been very, very controversial, and a lot of people have asked what my thoughts were. Let's watch.
Come on. Please, Blake, no. No, Blake, I swear. No, Blake. Blake, don't fight back. No, Blake. Just go. Blake, no.
All right, so I want to start off by saying this, and I've said this before. I almost sound like a broken record, but I'm going to say it again. When officers use force, it's not designed to look pretty. I wish that every time we utilize force, it can look okay. I wish that it would look decent and professional, but force doesn't look good. It just doesn't. And so I can understand why this might emotionally charge you up when you watch it at first glance. I mean, again, if I take myself away from being a police officer and, take away all the experiences I have of being an officer and being involved in uses of force, at first glance, I would definitely say, oh yeah, this looks terrible. Why are these officers utilizing this level of force? And so a little bit of the background. Now, I don't know all of the background just because there's still an active investigation, but a little bit of background, I was able to find a few critical things that bring a lot more context to the situation. A couple of them being, one, that he was armed. Now, initially, a lot of the news headlines and media outlets were saying that he was unarmed. They were saying he was a security guard working at a local nightclub, and he was unarmed. And at the end of the end result of this, after they took him into custody, they found out and they discovered that he was armed. Now, I have strong assumptions that make me believe that these officers had a belief that he was armed, which is why we kind of saw the actions that they took. You have to think of it like this. You have two deputies that are trying to take a guy into custody who they know is armed. They know he's armed. And so if they know he's armed, you have to realize in their minds, they are fighting for their life. I've shown you guys videos time and time again where officers get caught off guard, where they get ambushed and somebody turns a gun and shoots them and either executes them or critically injures them. So if officers are fighting with a guy that they know is armed with a weapon, they are going to utilize whatever the force necessary they can do in order to overcome that resistance and stop that threat. And so that's why they're wrestling with them. And that kind of explains and brings me to point number two, which is why you see at some point during this incident, one of the deputies take his firearm out. Again, you have to think about it from this way. If an officer is wrestling with a person that they know they have a gun, and you feel that this person might get access to their gun, they may pull their gun out in order to overcome that resistance if they believe they're dealing with somebody that's also armed. So that explained a lot of it as well when I watched it from that perspective, because I'm like, oh, they're dealing with an armed guy. So based on those two things and based on what they're dealing with, they're also dealing with a non-compliant subject. Now, I don't care what you tell me, he was non-compliant. I mean, he's wrestling with officers. He's not giving them their hands. He's still fighting. That's why even some of the people around them are saying, hey, stop resisting. Comply with them. It ain't worth it. And they're right. It's not worth it. It is not worth it to die on the sidewalk with officers that are trying to take you into custody. So even just tensing up, even not moving and stuff, that is not complying with the officer's instructions. And so therefore, they're trying to get his arms behind his back so they can place him into custody. And so again, we can't look at this from the perspective of, oh, it's going to go all smooth. They're going to grab the arms and put him in handcuffs. He's resisting. That's why you see him slam their head, because in their minds, they are trying to survive. They're dealing with an armed subject. Now, I am very big on, there are certain situations where a person's criminal record or lack thereof shouldn't influence the way officers respond. But I'm also a big proponent of there are certain situations where a person's background doesn't affect the way the officers dealt with him. For example, the Ahmaud Arbery case. And I argued this with some people. I don't believe that Ahmaud Arbery's criminal record had anything to do with the level of force that was used by those citizens. I mean, it had nothing to do with the way they used force against him. It was completely wrong, and I don't agree. They should have taken the criminal justice system into their own hands and murder Ahmaud Arbery. So that's why I say you can't bring in his criminal record in order to make a determination of why those guys did what they did. But in this case, I believe you can. This guy was a convicted felon. He was therefore, especially in California, he's not even supposed to have a weapon. So when the media and them were painting him out to be a security guard, that tells me something right there, because if you're a convicted felon, you can't own a firearm in the state of California, which tells me that he was probably not doing something he shouldn't have been doing just on that basis alone. And so keep in mind, guys, that explains, watching this video from that perspective breaks it down and explains so much to me. And this investigation is not even over yet. So if you guys are going to ask me, I think the level of force given the set of circumstances in this situation is going to be justified, because these officers are fighting for their life. Now, the one last thing I will say is, again, I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've trained it. I should be training more. I'm not, but I think I can see Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coming into play in this situation. I mean, if officers can, have training and tips and techniques to get them through, wrestling with a subject like this, I think it might be able to be beneficial. But at the end of the day, irregardless, these officers are fighting for their life. They're dealing with the armed guy that has a firearm in his waistband that is loaded, and so they want to make sure that they can make it home safely at the end of the night. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys are able to learn something today. If you guys like these videos that I bring to you, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave me some comments below. I'd like to see what you guys think. With that being said, see you guys on the next one. Take care and God bless.
Ron Tillman, real talk, it's the truth.